In this moment, as you read these words, the power to completely transform your life already exists within you. Most people live unaware, trapped in limited states of consciousness, never discovering the infinite potential hidden within. Right now, you stand at a crossroads. Will you continue to remain at the level of mass consciousness, or will you begin the journey of elevating your consciousness to awaken your true power? All human beings experience life according to their level of consciousness. Your current level of consciousness creates your reality. This is the most powerful message David Hawkins shares with us. Every pain, every limitation, every frustration you experience is merely the result of the level of consciousness you currently inhabit. If you're not satisfied with the reality you're experiencing, it's a signal that you need to raise your level of consciousness. As long as you remain in lower states of consciousness, fear, anger, desire, your life will continue to repeat the same patterns. Unless you consciously choose to elevate yourself to higher energy fields, nothing will change in your inner or outer world. Awakening isn't about comfortable words or sentimental thoughts. It's a visceral turning point where every cell in your body vibrates. It's the moment your entire being leaps to a higher level of consciousness. In this moment, what state of consciousness are you dwelling in? Are you dominated by fear, filled with anger and hostility, or perhaps trapped in a cycle of self-criticism and shame? These lower states of consciousness drain your energy and leave you powerless. In these states, no amount of effort will bring about true change. This is why you might be working hard but not succeeding. The problem isn't your actions, but your state of consciousness. Now, let's choose to elevate your consciousness to courage, neutrality, and acceptance. In these states, you're no longer a victim of your environment, but an active participant creating your reality. As your consciousness rises, you'll experience greater power and clarity. Your problems will begin to transform into solutions, and obstacles into opportunities. This is the transformation that comes with elevating your level of consciousness. Many people try to find solutions in the external world. They believe that a better job, more money, or improved relationships will make them happy. But these external things only provide temporary satisfaction. True change begins not from the outside, but from within. When your state of consciousness changes, your external world naturally transforms as well. This is true power. The moment you elevate your level of consciousness, you begin to attract people and situations with similar energy, like a magnet. Your reality is a mirror reflecting your inner state. When you change your inner energy, the external world reconfigures accordingly. This is what Hawkins calls the power of attraction. You experience the reality that resonates with your vibrational frequency. Think about it. If you're constantly consumed by negative thoughts, you'll continue to attract negative situations and people. If you're dominated by fear and worry, your reality will reflect that energy. But if you elevate your consciousness to courage, willpower, and neutrality, you'll experience a completely different reality. Water remains water at 99 degrees Celsius, but add just one more degree and it completely transforms into steam. Your consciousness works the same way. When it reaches a critical point, your entire being begins to change. Small changes accumulate to create major leaps. The small choices you make every day determine your level of consciousness. The food you eat, the media you consume, the people you interact with, all of these influence your state of consciousness. The world you live in completely changes depending on your level of consciousness. At lower levels, the world appears threatening and limiting. You become fixated on survival and safety. But as your consciousness rises, you experience the world as abundant and full of opportunities. It's the same world, but your perception is entirely different. When your consciousness reaches the level of courage, you gain the power to act without being dominated by fear. When it reaches neutrality, you're no longer swayed by others' opinions or social pressure. When it reaches willpower, you develop the determination to move steadily toward your goals. And when your consciousness rises to the levels of love, joy, and peace, you enter a completely new dimension of experience. In these higher states, achievement happens without effort. You no longer experience the struggle of pushing and pulling, but live in a natural flow. This is what Hawkins calls the difference between power versus force. Let's talk about true wealth. Many people define wealth as the amount of money in their bank account. But true wealth begins in your state of consciousness. When your consciousness dwells in states of abundance, gratitude, and contribution, material prosperity naturally follows. Conversely, if your consciousness remains at levels of fear, scarcity, and competition, you'll never feel that you have enough, no matter how much money you earn. Becoming wealthy is more than learning techniques to make money. It's about elevating your consciousness to a state of abundance. In this state of consciousness, opportunities and resources naturally flow to you. You're no longer trapped in a mindset of scarcity and competition, but experience the world through a mindset of abundance and symbiosis. To rise to a state of wealth consciousness, you must first recognize your current belief system. What beliefs do you hold about money? Do you believe money is scarce, or do you believe it flows abundantly? Your beliefs about money form your financial reality. Now, let's discuss specific methods to elevate your consciousness. First, you must recognize your current level of consciousness. In what emotional state do you spend most of your time? Second, recognize that you can choose higher states of consciousness. Your emotions and state of consciousness are your choice. Third, regularly practice techniques that elevate your consciousness. Meditation, prayer, gratitude, forgiveness, service. These practices are powerful tools to raise your consciousness to higher levels. Each time you elevate your consciousness one level, you gain tremendous energy and power. According to Hawkins, the scale of consciousness is logarithmic. This means that with each level you rise, your power increases exponentially. At lower levels of consciousness, you consume a lot of energy but achieve little result. At higher levels, you can achieve great results with minimal energy. In higher states of consciousness, you experience flow rather than struggle. You no longer push and pull, but move within a natural flow. Your actions no longer stem from fear or scarcity, but from inner clarity and conviction. This is the transformation you experience as your consciousness rises. As your consciousness rises, you discover a clearer purpose. At lower levels, survival and safety are your main concerns. But as your consciousness rises, you pursue greater purpose and meaning. You no longer simply survive, but thrive and contribute. Discovering purpose isn't about pursuing results, but experiencing an inner state. When you consciously rise to higher states, your purpose naturally reveals itself to you. You no longer search for it, it finds you. Discipline isn't simply about controlling yourself, but consistently maintaining your state of consciousness. It's the ability to do what you've decided, not what you want. Discipline may bring discomfort in the short term, but it brings freedom in the long term. Taking action is about purposeful action stemming from your state of consciousness. True change comes not from knowing, but from doing. No matter how many books you read, nothing will change unless you actually practice that knowledge. The elevation of consciousness isn't linear. It follows a spiral pattern. You'll repeatedly face the same problems and challenges. However, each time you'll experience them from a slightly higher level of consciousness. Problems that once troubled you will begin to appear as opportunities for growth. When your consciousness is below 200, you see yourself as a victim of your environment. But when your consciousness exceeds 200, you begin to recognize that you're the creator of your reality. You realize you're no longer a victim of your environment, but an active participant choosing your experiences. Here are practical ways to elevate your consciousness in daily life. First, pay attention to your state of consciousness from the moment you wake up each morning. Second, monitor your state of consciousness throughout the day and elevate yourself from lower states to higher ones. Third, consciously choose your environment. Fourth, elevate your consciousness through spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, and yoga. 5th, instantly elevate your consciousness through the practice of gratitude. Through these practices, you can gradually elevate your consciousness to higher levels. And as your consciousness rises, every aspect of your life will begin to change. This isn't magic, but the universal law that your state of consciousness creates your reality. In this moment, you stand at a crossroads. Will you continue to dwell in lower states of consciousness and experience the same results? Or will you elevate your consciousness and experience a completely new dimension of life? The choice is yours. If you decide to consciously rise to higher states, you're no longer a victim of your environment, but a creator of your reality. The higher your consciousness rises, the greater clarity, peace, and power you'll experience. You'll no longer struggle, but live in a natural flow. True wealth isn't the amount of money in your bank account, but begins in your state of consciousness. When your consciousness dwells in states of abundance, gratitude, and contribution, material prosperity naturally follows. This is the most important lesson Hawkins teaches us. Everything you need to live the life you dream of already exists within you. You no longer need to seek answers outside. You simply need to elevate your consciousness to access the infinite wisdom and power that already exist within. This is true awakening. This is true achievement.